All right, so, Chair, we're going to get started since Adam has to step out early. Okay. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here on a December IDA meeting. I guess we got to start with the roll call, as always. Today we have Adam Pollock, Teresa Pierster, Yania Pearson. I believe Gregory is on his way. Missing, we have Christina Amato. She's not here today. Obviously, we have Sheriff Bickers, Mr. McLaughlin, and Adriana. All right. So, proof of notice of the meeting was sent regarding today. And that means that we can move on to item number 3, which is the reading or the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Does anybody have any questions? We would need a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of the October meeting.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, that was Adam. So all in favor? Aye. Abstaining? Opposing? All right. So that quickly moves us on to the executive session to discuss the lease or sale of real property.
I move that we enter executive section to discuss lease or sale of real property.
All right. So all in favor? Or I'm sorry? You need a second.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Are we back in? All right. So we are back from executive session. No decision was made. We can move on to item number 5.
The report of the treasurer. Thanks, Marlon. I'll read through the Treasury report for November. Okay, there we go. It's a little better. During the month of November, the operating account began with a balance of $272,610.53. During the course of the month, there were deposits totaling $53,412.81 over disbursements in the amount of $9,291.04. Yielding a closing balance in the operating account of $316,732.30. The payroll account, let's see, the payroll account began with a balance of $45,239.91. There were debits totaling $14,189.42. And then we also had interest paid in the amount of $123.54, yielding a closing balance of $31,174.03. The applications fund began and ended with the same balance, $14,151.44. Our lesser tenant account began with a balance of $2,404.74. There was interest paid in the amount of $7.91. So the closing balance was $2,412.65. Our labor monitoring account began and closed with the same balance, $15,014.79. Our money market account began with a balance of $1,226,885.76. There was interest paid in the amount of $4,033.54, yielding a closing, and a debit in the amount of 30 cents, yielding a closing balance of $1,230,889.30. And the Lakeland bank account began with a balance of $4 million even. There was interest income at a rate of 5%, yielding $51,111.11. So yielding a closing balance of $4,051,111.11. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report for November.
I move to approve the treasurer's report.
I second.
Motion seconded. All those in favor of approving the treasurer's report for November, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, the motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to pay our bills for November 2023.
I move that we pay the bills for November.
Second, anyone?
I second.
Seconded. All those in favor of paying our bills, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, the motion carries. The Audit and Finance Committee, we did meet after the last board meeting, maybe about 2 weeks ago, I'd say, and we were present, and the director, ID Director Chair, was present with us. And in addition to carrying on the business of going through the budget and making sure it was ready for tonight, we did review the policies that we're going to look at later tonight, and it's our recommendation that the board adopt the policies as written.
Okay.
Can I just interject there 1 second?
Please, yeah.
They did have a question on the investment policy about it specifying a maximum amount to be kept on deposit and needing a resolution to change that. Is there a specific reason for that? No? Okay.
Just due diligence and transparency.
Okay.
Excellent. So I just wanted to add that. And then I see audit services for 2024, PKF O'Connor Davies.
We plan to use them.
There's more of an announcement than our recommendation.
Yeah, I just was copying that from an agenda previous times, but we will renew them again
Yes.
in the housekeeping resolution, but, you know, it was our first year using them, we can use them again.
And yeah, well, they did a good job, and
Yes.
I think we were all happy with
Yeah.
how they did it, so the plan is to use them again. All right, and that concludes the report of the treasurer. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Adam. All right, so we can move on to the chairman's report. So, where do I start? So, Gregory and I, we attended the Orange County Partnership annual event, and there was a big attendance. It must have been, I think, Connor said that there was about 600 people. There's a lot, yeah. So basically, some of the takeaways that, as we left, we talked, we felt that we should definitely be taking place, we should be attending these and setting up table. I think those type of events are great events to get exposure. I was able to have some conversations with people, and people are paying attention to what's happening in Newburgh. People are paying attention. There is still, I think, a really great opportunity to continue to build a good relationship with the partnership. To me, it was very clear that they have a lot of connections. They are able to get a lot of people, a lot of businesses, developers in one room, so that speaks to their influence. So I think we're going to continue to foster that relationship, and hopefully we can work in the future together. They seem to really understand some of the national trends with the businesses coming into the area, local trends with the way that we're positioned here logistically. So there's a lot of things that they seem to really be able to hopefully in the future help us out with. The way that I see it is a situation where we could have a potential developer that then needs a tenant, and they have somebody or a group of people, business that's looking for space. So there's definitely a possibility there for some sort of, future. Anyways, that was I think those are great opportunities. I think it opens doors, and we should keep fostering those type of relationships. What else? So another thing that Sharon and I have been proactively working on is trying to connect with lending institutions, trying to connect with also developers, people that have some interest, that they have very little idea of Newburgh. They just kind of heard of Newburgh, kind of relatively new. So we've had some conversations. We have some conversations pending. We spoke with what was it, the gentleman's at CCP? Was it the community CPC? We spoke with them, and so they have been doing work in Newburgh. They've worked with the Land Bank. They work with Habitat for Humanity in the lending part of it. They don't necessarily do a lot of work with the commercial side, but they seem open to it. So these are, I believe, the type of connections that we should continue to foster. So stay tuned to more. Stay tuned for us to continue to build, in my opinion, what would be a Rolodeck of people, businesses that believe in Newburgh, that understand Newburgh, that will come in and feel like we're supporting the developers as they're coming in. So that's part of that. Regarding the mission statement, so let me go into here.
It's the last paper in the housekeeping resolution, the mission statement. It's in that.
Okay, the housekeeping resolution, the last paper. Okay, so I'm going to read it for the purposes of making sure that we read the mission statement. So, the mission statement. The mission of the City of Newburgh Industrial Development Agency is to help attract and contribute to Newburgh's jobs opportunity, a diverse and net positive tax base to provide long-term economic prosperity and sustainability, and advance the general welfare and standard of living for the city and its residents through the promotion, development, encouragement, and assistance of commercial, technology, tourism initiatives, recreational facilities, warehousing, manufacturing, and industrial facilities, utilizing green practices and adaptive reuse where available. So that's our mission statement. I know that we've done a little bit of work to make sure that we feel strong about our mission statement. I feel strong with the wording. We make sure that we put it in the forefront. But does anybody have anything to say? No? Okay.
I think this was good, and in our last meeting too, like, how is workforce development real? Like, are we in any position to encourage sustainable workforce development? And so when I see Newburgh's job opportunities, I'm hoping that, like, I feel that that's really perfect for now, but I'm hoping that we'll elaborate on that and what we mean about that as time goes by. Because job opportunities, sometimes people are like, well, here's some construction jobs for 2 years, then they're gone. Or here's some low-paying service jobs. These are jobs and they're job opportunities, but they won't really support our citizens. Mm-hmm. So at some point, I'm hoping we can just elaborate and dive a little deeper into that. It doesn't necessarily have to change the language in the,
Yeah, I totally second the feeling of making sure that we are doing that, right? I totally second that feeling.
Yeah,
I also have an inclination that this is going to be hard to standardize, but more like dig in deep case by case scenario, but I may be wrong. You know, if you have a manufacturer versus just like a warehousing, that we'll have to like think differently per application. That's just my hunch.
Yeah.
You know, but I think in those opportunities in those individual opportunities, we'll have the ability to codify how we do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how I'm like, you know, my hunch. Yeah, so the governance committee.
I can help, you want me to help you with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You
And
really didn't have, you, Yania, and Gregory, right,
Right.
met, you're the governance committee. You really didn't have any comments. The only one that I discussed with Bob that you did have a comment about was in the bylaws in section 9. You wanted it to read that all officers of the IDA shall be appointed at the annual meeting of the IDA from among the members, and each officer shall hold office for 1 year until his successor is appointed. That was the one change.
thank you for the wording on that.
There was another one. There was another change in the bylaws.
Remember, there was like,
Yeah, yeah.
I had like a little error that I had on one page, but other than that, you want a copy of it?
I'm just looking for it. Did we not change the language about the voting of the board chair? That's
That's
okay.
that.
Did you just mention that?
That's, yes.
Okay, my head's somewhere else. I guess, so I'm thinking about the other thing that I was going to talk about.
Okay.
So, the language, we just changed the language around the voting for the chair. Okay, good, good. That was like, okay. But the other thing that we mentioned that I would just comment on is sort of more like the spirit of the bylaws. And so the bylaws itself is very, the bylaws doesn't necessarily have, does not necessarily direct culture in terms of how we want to conduct ourselves with each other. So, for example, we talked about the fact that you're permitted so many unexcused absences. Or we talked about absences that are not excused.
Yeah.
There's a consequence with that.
Yeah.
But it's possible, according to our bylaws, to miss a lot of meetings, but if they're excused, they're almost unlimited.
Right.
So,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, so that's the law.
Yeah.
That's our law, okay? But the truth is, we just wanted to make note that there are agreements, like general people's agreements,
Yeah.
that are not bylaws.
Right.
And for everyone to know that when they're not here, then we're not making our best decisions, because everyone on this board, really, their input and their decision, their thoughts on things are really important. And we can make decisions if we just have a quorum, but would they be the best decisions if we're always voting like
Yeah,
that?
especially since so many of us have so many insights, and so we are all equally important, in my opinion. So I agree.
Yeah, yeah, and because we also are excited about just our future.
Right.
And so that means we're brainstorming ideas,
Right.
we're thinking about things, we're not committing necessarily, but we're all missed when we're not here. That's all. We wanted to just say that we can spend time in what our agreements are to each other that would not be governed by bylaws. That was the point, really.
Yeah, thank you for
That's the only point.
for bringing that up, because we did discuss it when we met, and yeah, so the way it is, yeah, it's really important. Thank you for bringing that up. Attendance, we understand we're all volunteers, and life happens. So, but yeah, we should definitely keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
Keep the energy going. So, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so, so we went over the recommendation for the policy. That we can move on. And then, so that then we can move on to item number 7, which is the council's report.
Hi, good evening. I really don't have a lot tonight. The only thing that I've been working on is some of the policy changes that you've done tonight, and we'll consider the potential disposition of real estate and the new application that you have for the Brookfield project. Cher and I have exchanged some comments. I've exchanged some comments with their counsel. I did draft a preliminary public hearing resolution, which is not ready yet because you don't have your cost-benefit analysis. But I assume that by the next meeting you should have the justification and the cost-benefit analysis done, and then you can consider a public hearing resolution. So we'll have that hopefully for next month. Thank you.
All right.
And it's always great to see a tree growing in Broadway.
Yeah. All right.
Can I add something on, or ask something on that? You asked a question one time about what if we don't like certain projects, like warehousing, and then we had that presentation from Connors. Did it change your opinion? Because it changed my opinion about warehousing, because at first it was like, warehouse, but the truth of the matter is it can really be a great asset.
Oh, yeah. So I did also have a meeting with him, and because for every reason that I've spoken about, right? And there is, he has insight into the type of industries that are coming here, and some of them are not, some of these are legit manufacturing, creating jobs. So when a warehouse space is built, it could be used for many things. It could be a warehouse, but it could also be used to manufacture products.
Right.
And basically I'm now a lot more open to the idea because of the possibilities that come with it, and also obviously the everything, all of the impact that comes with a sort of development like that, which is positive to Newburgh, really.
And just to clarify, our main concern was developers projects that didn't already have tenants.
Right.
That was our main concern. Then we kind of got a better sense of like, that's not that weird, that's not that out of the
Exactly.
box.
Exactly. So essentially, there's actively, these businesses nationally, they're actively looking for sites. And they reach out to organizations like this. There's Think Dutchess, there's Orange County Partnership, there's through the county itself. So they're, and it's just being at the right place at the right time, finding the right fit. It's basically the game that's played.
Yep.
And so when we have something that says, hey, we're ready, that means people that are looking can actually come in. So so totally support it.
All right.
What else did thank you for that, and thank you for the question there. So executive director's report.
Hello. So for mine, I was looking over our resolutions for the year and just things we've passed. I just kind of wanted to go over kind of like a summary of all the things the board has achieved over the past year, because I was writing the performance, the performance measurements and the accomplishments. Not everything is appropriate for that report, but, I feel like when I started here 5 years ago, you all had a lot of goals of achieving things, and it was kind of like, how are we ever going to do some of these things? And even though they might be small things, they just took a really long time, and it's an achievement that they've happened, period. And so I just kind of wanted to, you know, just like little tick marks on the things that have happened this year, which have kind of been talked about for a long time. So one of them, you all approved a new logo. You know, that was, since I was here in 2017, that was the original RFP where you guys were originally talking about doing that. Ever since I joined the IDA, you were always talking about doing an RFP for banking. That finally happened in 2023. We've also been talking about doing labor monitoring. You approved Loki Brill to do monitoring of projects to make sure that the labor is local to this area. I think that's a big deal, especially as we get big projects coming in through the door. We worked with a new auditor. I think that really improves our processes here in the office as an agency to just be running optimally the best that we could be. What else? We had the RFP for the website and for the PR. Those were huge, again, in 2017. That was the last time, and we've talked about it on and off all these years, and this was the year that the logo, the website, and the PR all kind of happened. You guys are going to vote on that later on, but you know, hopefully you approve it, but that we've had approvals for all of those things. That really gives the agency a presence, just something that's always been discussed. We've engaged a consultant to work on our UTEP. Since the pandemic, I've been talking about, you know, redoing our UTEP that services Newburgh appropriately, and you approved that for this year. You also approved the pilot for 191 Washington Street, and although that project hasn't closed, it was a big process to go through the public hearing and the cost-benefit analysis and all that was involved, and to get to that approval, to that resolution point where you were able to approve it, was a big deal. We also renewed a lease with the bank, with the credit, what is it, the Heritage Teachers Union, you know what I'm talking about. But, you know, again, like some projects we've had sitting there for a while. They don't come up on our radar. It's really great when they do come back and you get a refresher on why they're there in the first place, and kind of like, that was great that you got like a reintroduction, especially for the new board members, on what that project was. Same thing happened with Murphy's Ditch. We collected money on that, and we kind of revived our memories on that project as well, and we collected money on that. And then last but not least, we've been talking about forever, was something so simple, but doing QuickBooks online and not on the desktop version, so that when the software crashes, everything crashes. And finally, Adriana got that up and running. She did the training for that, and like now, I mean, she said, but it was so much easier in doing certain things. And so like now, you know, something so simple, but like in the future, we won't even be thinking about how easy that makes things. But, you know, it just took a while to approve those things. So, you know, I think that's a credit to all of you who are thinking positively and progressively on how to make the agency better and serve Newburgh better. And, you know, I'm sure in 2024 we'll have our own things. So, you know, I touched on some of those things in the accomplishments of the agency in your packet. You know, you see that in the housekeeping resolution. And I touch on some of those things for what we kind of want to achieve for the following year as well. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you for that, Sharon. Thank you for the reminder of the work we've done. Thank you.
One thing I don't know if you mentioned, because I'm trying to listen well, but the fact that we got the cell towers thing straight,
That's Bob's office, but that was huge.
We didn't know.
That was huge too.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge accomplishment. Well,
Yeah. Thank you for all of that. Okay, I guess we can move on to new business. So, Chair, do you want to help me with this?
Sure, so this is to, let's turn to page, let's see. Let's turn to Exhibit A, because that's pretty much where you see what you're approving for next year. So, number one, approval and confirmation of agency policy and procedures for calendar year, actually, it should say 2024, yeah. So you will basically be recommending to renew those policies, subject to the changes that we mentioned, to the, to the bylaws. We know that the investment policy is new. We know that we're working on the UTEP policy. And we know that you made changes to the disposition policy, but that has its own resolution. Number two, you're reappointing the staff, agents, myself as executive director, Adriana as financial administrator. You're appointing the accounting firm, PKF O'Connor Davies. You're appointing agency counsel and bond counsel, which is Whiteman, Osterman, and Hannah. That's Bob McLaughlin. Officers of the agency. I polled all of you. I only think I got back 2 answers, which I would assume that means the rest of you are happy with the positions you hold and that you don't want to change them. So unless anybody wants to, change that now, please let me know. I will note that we have 2 committees, and the governance committee has 3 members, Gregory, Marlon, and Yania. The Audit Finance Committee has only 2, which is Adam and Chrissy. We are missing 1 member. So is it customary for people to serve on 2 committees? Or
You can.
so
Customary would have 3 members.
3 members, yes. So, I think if somebody would like to, but serving 1 member, serving on 2 committees that's fine. So yeah, if somebody else would like to serve on the Audit Finance Committee, that would be great to know, because we are missing 1. In a case like today, if Adam can't attend, Chrissy can't attend, or, to make it an odd number.
Right.
If you want
Do
to,
we have to pick, is there anybody that wants to? Because if not, maybe,
I was thinking about it.
you were thinking about it?
Yeah.
Okay, so can I actually propose for people to sit and think about that particular thing and then decide on the next
the
one?
January
Because
meeting, we can
yeah.
name the officers for the
we can
committees.
confirm that
Yeah.
So then I guess when we move this particular resolution, we're moving so that we're approving the policies with the changes that we've talked about. We are appointing Chair Vickers as Executive Director, Adriana as a Financial Administrator. We're appointing the accounting PKF O'Connor Davis, LLP, as the firm. Appointing of agency and counsel and bond counsel to the agency, Whiteman, Osterman, and Hannah, LLP, Mr. Robert McLaughlin. And we're moving on to also accepting the mission statement as it is and the proposed meeting.
Also, I would like to add, the only reason why we had a second vice chairperson
Yeah.
was because when we unexpectedly had a change in board members,
Yeah.
nobody really wanted to be chair and nobody really wanted to be vice chair.
Right.
I think you guys are all comfy in your positions now, so I don't think that we need a second vice chair. I think it's just chair and vice chair, so.
Got it, yeah. I agree with that. So maybe we remove that for the following.
I don't think we can eliminate that because that was of necessity at that time. And then for the proposed meeting dates, I have that in the packet as well. Our meetings are the 3rd Monday of
Right.
every month. But in January and February, those fall on holidays. So what is customary, we usually do is we move that to a Wednesday. So I don't know if you all want to, tell me now if you prefer. Okay,
looking for that
yeah.
page
So you'll tell me later?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But for now, we'll leave those as the proposed dates.
So can I get a motion?
I move that we accept resolution number 2023-12-13-01, which is the annual housekeeping resolution for 2024.
I second.
Who was that?
That was Adam.
Wait, who seconded?
No,
Adam was first, who was second?
I'll second.
I thought I heard second. I'm hearing things, sorry.
It was Marlon said.
I'll second.
Oh.
I said I'll second it.
Oh, Teresa did too? Okay.
Teresa.
We'll have Teresa. I'll do a roll call. 1 sec. Do we have a roll call? Yeah, we do. Marlon Ramos.
Yes.
Christina Amato is absent. Michael Kelly is absent. Adam Pollock.
Yes?
Gregory Nato.
Yes.
Teresa Priester.
Yes.
And Robin Yanya Pearson.
Yes.
All right.
Resolution passes.
Okay, so then we can move on to resolution, 2023-121302, the resolution for property disposition policy. So we got somebody make motion, or?
Yeah, we just, I move that we approve resolution number 2023-12-13-02, which is a resolution authorizing certain amendments to the agency property disposition policy.
All right. All right.
I will second.
Okay, Gregory Nato, and I will take a roll call. Okay. Marlon Ramos.
Yes.
Christina Amato is absent. Michael Kelly is absent. Adam Pollock.
Yes.
Gregory Nato.
Yes.
Teresa Priester.
Yes.
And Robin Yanya Pearson.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
All right, so moving on to resolution 2023-121303. It's a 1 year and the 5-year budget. So I move to approve resolution 2023-12-13-03.
I'll second.
Whoa. Wait, please. Is there anything you want to point out in the budget?
Oh, do you want to,
I honestly don't have anything to point out. I didn't bring my notes with me to the meeting. Sheriff, is anything you want to help with that's noteworthy from our meeting? That would be
Let's see. So, do you have a particular,
I think a 1 year and a 5 year, is that traditional?
yes, that's required.
that's
So the
good.
1 year I
was
just
happy to see
extract.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy.
Yeah. And do we have any addition, we talked about at some point increasing staff?
So when we spoke about that, we did not account for that this year. It does account for, let me see what I wrote down here. It does account for, like, data collection, yes. So professional services and contracts, that's where the extra money was allocated for needing to hire extra people to do things. So the PR is included in there because that's, that's not part of this year's budget. What the website is going to cost, other projects towards the website, which is what Adam and Chrissy were calling the consultants that would be needed to collect that data and put that data up there.
Right. So do you all feel, I mean, we did some brainstorming starting back in June about additional things that we want to do above and beyond the website and the branding, but other types of public service kinds of events and
right?
conferences, or just, things that we can do to sort of stimulate development here?
Right.
That was in, the
Is
conference
that-
was
you
part
think
of
that's
that.
in the budget?
The conference was part of, we kind of threw out the number of like 5,000, maybe we thought. of what a conference would cost, but of course,
$5,000?
well,
for
the
a
cost of the rental of the facility plus.
No, I'm saying that's not
That's not much. Right? So wait, so
$5,000.
is that part of the 150,000,
That's the professional
That's
services.
part of
or did we line item for that? For the,
Looking
the
at the 1
particular
year or
event?
you're looking at the 1 year or the 5 year?
I'm in the
It's
1
the
year.
same thing. It's
in
the
the
same
1
thing.
year.
So professional services and contracts under under operating expenditures, that's where
Okay,
that was,
accounted for.
yes.
Okay, got it. Okay,
And then we also, just noteworthy, I think we talked about laptops, right? We put that in there.
Yes, and that's in the supplies and materials, that's why it's
The team needs
6,000.
new computers.
Okay. Yeah.
For 2 new laptops, and
Right,
we
okay.
accounted for that in there.
So can we say that our budget for this year, at best, will provide for some planning stages of some of these ideas we've discussed? So that they're not sufficiently covered in here? In other words, if we're thinking a year out, we have enough funds in here if we want to do some exploration for, and one of the things that I was thinking about, that I think I will stay focused on, is this idea of workforce development and how all parties involved might need better guidance and standards for what we mean by workforce development in the city of Newburgh. And, it is not just a simple thing of, well, we're going to have 3 jobs, or we're going to have 15 jobs, but there's this is a problem that all the politicians talk about. We need jobs, but we actually don't have anything substantial enough to make a difference in attracting developers here with, for the labor that we have. So I think that it's it's not an immediate, it's a problem that I'm wondering if we can use our funds at some point to pull together standards for workforce development. And I've said it this way, and I can explain it a little bit simpler, but our workforce development issue in this city is substandard, and no one really knows what it is. People do get trained in some jobs, but people can't live off the jobs that they're trained to do, and that in order to be the kind of place that Orange Partnership was talking about, of like developers coming in and us saying, well, bring this business here because we have trained people to do this. I don't know if anything's really happening. Like the hotel idea, that was very appealing, that they brought some real collaborators together. They brought SUNYAC together, they brought the developers together, and then our pilot program saying, we are actually going to train some professionals to do this work in this hotel. That is, I think, a good model when it happens. That's a good model. But it did take more than just a developer saying, I'm going to have 50 jobs. It really took a collaboration. And I think that if we have some support, if we have some funds to pull a group of people together and get them all on the same page, then we could actually maybe help developers think about things that it is not their job to think. It's not a developer's job to think about about workforce development. That's not really what they do. It's like, but somebody has to do it,
Right.
and if we're doing it, we might attract more of that and begin to see a real impact in the city.
So the question that I have, and this is something that can, as we talk about what we're going to be doing, the question that I have for that comes up to my mind is if
See, Adam?
Bye, Adam. The question that I have is, given that we are supposed to promote jobs, right? And the type of jobs that come in will vary, it will look completely different.
Right.
Then how can we standardize something that varies per project is something. And then also the development part versus the actual job. Well, how does that play into our mission, right? And what we're by regulation supposed to do. So those are the questions that come to
Yeah, I
mind.
don't have the answers, and I think, but if we could encourage some activity to think about those answers, because the best I can say right now is that it's not a sector problem. You know, we have to, well, we need more medical, that's a sector.
Okay.
No, that's not making enough of a difference in Newburgh. You know, it's a systems problem. It's connecting all the dots. So the developers play a part, the educational facilities play a part, the other community service, job development agencies play a part, the schools, the high school plays a part, and how do you, the government, in terms of Orange County government, they have a part to play. So can we, at some point, can we call together a, what do you call it, a blue collar? Not a blue collar, a blue ribbon. A blue ribbon panel that studies this problem and then figures out, can we create some standards, not just for developers, but standards that developers can be thinking about when we ask a simple question like, what kind of jobs are you coming? What kind of jobs are you coming up? It's just an opportunity to have a proactive conversation, a deeper conversation to really impact the system here in Newburgh, because everybody says we need jobs and it's not really happening. People are doing a little bit, but if we brought a bunch of collaborators together.
I mean, ideally, from where, you know, without knowing I guess, like some of the type of like, I don't know what the word that I'm looking for, but it's basically how without like the city leading this, and where we're focused in our sector, in like what our powers. I think I almost see where if there is going to be a push in the city for that, it has to come from maybe the city, in my opinion. I don't know.
Well, you know,
I may be wrong.
we would just be collaborators.
Right, that's
Can
what
we
I-
convene, because we do have city council members who care about this
Right.
issue, but may or not be, but too little is happening. I don't know everything. I had a talk with someone who's been in the field here in workforce development, and she agrees, you know, that there's just the system is not
Because you're
connected.
talking education. You're talking
It's
about the training and
education, it's
development.
training development.
Yeah.
It's long-sighted. It's like, how long does it take for a developer to develop a project? Somewhere between 2 and 5 years, right? Wow, so 5 years out, you have somebody thinking, well, let's do a microchip company here. And then, but we don't have the workforce. Well, by the time I get myself together, by the time they get their project financed and designed and everything, 5 years out, by the time they break ground and open doors, we could have developed workers for them. But we can't do that if the right people aren't sitting and talking to each other about it. So taking some initiative, could the IDA be a group of folks that bring those people together to have those conversations? We're not going to do it, we're not going to train, but we're going to bring people together so that all the right people are at the table to think about how this might work.
I think a lot in
And
the.
I, you know, and it just,
No, I think I understand more what you're saying.
Okay. That
With
makes
the
sense.
last, with how
yeah.
you explained it just now, and I think in the, it almost I envision it happening by osmosis with the type of exposure we're going to be having, and you know, the exposure that we're going to be having to the development community and the local community, and as projects come in, and I can see the different boards, the different organizations that could benefit from this, us being a connector and saying,
Yeah.
hey, this is coming, this is what they're looking for. So it's maybe a little bit more of a networking thing, of a relationship thing, right?
Osmosis, well, let's not belabor the issue.
Right.
The question is it within our purview
Then it's- I don't think so. I don't know.
to spend some of our funds to convene people to think about how to increase a labor pool for the types of jobs that developers might be bringing into the city? Is that something we could do with some of our funds? So we can talk and spell it out and think
Yeah.
about who would be, yeah.
So I would recommend, just as you were going, have a plan. Have a group of you come up with what you want to do, what the plan is, articulate it, have it approved, and then implement it. Okay? Because where you could be criticized is if you just start spending with no direction, with no plan. You have a concept, well said, to try and create jobs within the city for particular industries. So, for example, medical, you may have to do some investigation as to how do you attract those medical people, medical companies to come here so that you have the people, and then how do you get the people here to be able to work here, live here, and
Right.
And the companies are here as well.
Yeah.
So it's a macro problem. It takes some time, but certainly, if planned out right, it's certainly within your authority. What you don't want, because it's creating jobs, and it's creating development, and it's creating a tax base for the city, which is what the agency is implemented for. What you don't want to have is just, spend money without the plan.
Right.
Okay, it's almost like spending money without a project. Your project is to develop a plan. That's what you need to work on.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's great.
interested in doing,
We should definitely dig down on that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think that deserves some exploration. I'm actually just, as I'm thinking, as we're talking, I'm just open to it, so you sound like you've thought about it a little bit, so we should definitely explore that and maybe help us, maybe lead a little bit with the idea on like how you envision it, and then we could possibly create a plan that it almost sounds like we could be developing, we could be targeting specific growing sectors, right?
yeah.
Industries, and then say we're, potentially building the workforce for that while we're also attracting the businesses, as we're moving on
Yeah.
with the project. So,
and see who's done it, not you.
yeah, no, it sounds pretty strong. Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah,
we
thank you
done?
for clarifying that, because I definitely didn't see it, but the fact that it is a possibility, it sounds very attractive. Okay, so, did we approve the 1 year and the 5 year yet? No.
No, and because Adam did leave, you have a motion by the chair and then a second by Adam, but he's now gone, and there was no vote.
Yeah.
I would recommend that you have someone else second the motion.
All right. I need a second.
I will second.
All right.
Do a roll call.
Approve that?
Marlon Ramos.
Yes.
Christina Lamano is absent. Michael Kelly is absent. Gregory Nato.
Yes.
Adam Pollock is absent. Robin Nyanya Pearson.
Yes.
And Teresa Priester.
Yes.
All right, so moving on to Resolution 2023-12-13-04, the branding, marketing, and advertising services. So, does anybody have any questions? Or are we ready to actually move forward with the resolution?
Well, just to maybe clarify,
Yeah.
Black Dog is the agency that is currently developing the website for us, and they will also be the PR agency. They're doing such a fantastic job. They really get it. They get who we are as a community, and they have vast experience working with other IDAs in the state, other state agencies, and they have a regional reach. So they kind of know what we need, and so we've decided as the committee to go forward with Black Dog.
Yeah, we
For PR.
talked about this last time. So they're doing both the PR and the web
Correct.
design?
Yes.
Do we know when will,
Oh.
what's that process like? How soon will we have a website that,
We're moving pretty fast.
We're moving really, really fast. We've been on top of all the meetings. We have a weekly meeting every Friday. The framework of the website is done. And now we're just putting in our information, our statistics, photography. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm gonna say a month, too.
Maybe?
Well, the original timeline, I think they said it was May, but
May.
we thought that it was going a lot faster. I think they're going to provide, I did give them a really exhaustive list of what I thought should be included in photography, and they were going to give me a quote. We also talked about the potential possibility of doing some videos, and they would give me, I think might be like a videographer, photographer combination, but before we spend that money, we would have a quote and we would discuss it. But that was another way we thought that the website could be even better. So that might, we're adding things maybe that might delay something, but they would send somebody out and they would photograph the city. So, I think the deadline is May, but if we go as good as we're going and things are populated and the site is, as fast as we can, then it would be sooner than that.
Yeah, I can see this being done in
around
about a
the
month or
corner.
two. To be, the structure
Yeah.
is done.
I mean, like, in 2 weeks, we were looking at pages, so it was quite impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
all right.
So, yeah, we're very confident in what they're doing. Yeah, and actually, I feel like we should be maybe for the next meeting, I think we should bring visuals.
Sure.
So that
That would be
you
lovely.
can, yeah, and if there's inputs, then we can take it back. So let's do that for the next meeting. We'll bring out a PDF.
Or I
of
can
what's
even forward, like
Oh, okay.
in 2 weeks' time, like in about a month's time,
Yeah.
whatever we have, and we'll have 2 more meetings by that time. Whatever proofs we have, they always send us like a PDF document, and maybe by that time it might be a live website accessed like via a code, like a password or something that you get to play around with.
Yeah,
So then I would share that.
yeah. Let's do that. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we need a motion.
I move that we approve resolution number 2023-12-13-04 for authorizing the agency to engage a consultant, Black Dog for PR.
I will second that.
Okay, do a roll call. Marlon Ramos?
Yes.
Christina Amato is absent. Michael Kelly is absent. Adam Pollock is absent. Gregory Nato,
Yes.
Teresa Priester,
Yes.
and Robin Yania Pearson.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Thank you for that. I think we can talk about old business. Anything old business?
Real quick, I'm sorry. One item that I forgot from my report. Last month, you approved the resolution for the redemption of the bonds.
Yeah.
For the parking garage.
Yep.
For St. Luke's. That did close on December 1st.
Right.
Those bonds have been fully redeemed.
Okay.
So
Done.
you're done with that.
Yep.
I apologize for that.
Did we have that in the checklist?
Another accomplishment.
Another accomplishment.
Project that closes.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I guess, listen, it's been a great year. I feel, with that reminder from Cher and how active we've been, I think we're closing strong. I think there's some great ideas. There's some great synergy. I want to thank all of you for your time. And keep the ideas coming. Let's keep the momentum. People are paying attention. People are noticing how organized, how responsive, and the type of work that we're doing. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, and thank you for your work too. Your work is valuable. It keeps us going. Cher, Bob, you guys are invaluable. All right? Thank you.
I want to say, too, I really, when I agreed to come on to this board, I didn't think it was going to be as exciting as it is. I was like, okay, it's important, but it's going to be boring. But we are not boring, and I feel like I really appreciate the dialogue that we've had. I've learned a lot, since I came on, a lot. So I wanted to appreciate you, Cher, for bringing so much information, and Bob always to have a question and to get the question answered. It's not my common experience.
Right.
And Marlon, I think you've done a great job, keeping our spirits up, and you've listened well, and you've been frustrated in all the right times and in the right ways, and it just gives us more opportunity to be our authentic selves, because we spend a lot of time here and we have to be real. And Gregory, all the work that you've put in on those extra proposals and things that Teresa and I have, I don't know, Teresa, if you've done it, but I'm I don't want to be involved in that proposal reviewing thing. But Teresa, your quiet presence and questions, though, and you have it more in your physical, wait a minute, what, why, why would we do that? So, thank you. I just feel like we all need to be appreciated.
Yeah. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year. Enjoy yourselves. In 2024, here we come. We do need a motion to adjourn, though. Okay.
I move that we adjourn the meeting, the last meeting of 2023.
We got a
I
second?
second that.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstaining, opposing? All right.